I am going to start with a word of thanks to Human Capital for convening such a forum, a very relevant forum in our times and in our world. And also a special thank you to the co-sponsors. Of course, EcoBank comes to mind, but also all the others, ABW, Events, Rock, Jim Roberts, Sheraton, and yes, and of course, we ourselves, ABI. So thank you very much. I'll get right into it. Women and youth-focused SMEs in Uganda. Explain that ABI, Agricultural Business Initiative, it's a multi-donor funded enterprise that channels development cooperation funding. So we're looking to a competitive, profitable, and sustainable agriculture by way of our vision. And we're looking to promote private sector business, agribusiness development to enhance wealth creation. So in enhancing wealth creation in Uganda, of course, we have to look at the statistics. And the statistics are showing us that 77% of Ugandans are actually under 25 years. So there is a big youth potential in the country. And I believe my fellow panelists, Mr. Ochichi and Annette, were really speaking to this. The other big statistic we need to look at is 51% of us, or maybe to be more precise, 50.9% of us are female. So how do we get the potential of this and utilize it for growing the competitiveness and the wealth creation in the country? That is why at ABI, our gender policy and strategy is actually to promote equality between women and men in sustainable agribusiness for equitable wealth creation. We believe that when we bring the two genders closer together, we will promote the reduction in the gaps to see that there is an opportunity for wealth creation. And our objectives are in promoting gender equity in ABI and our partners, because we work through partners, through their governance systems, through how they work, and through their enterprises. We ensure that women, men, and youth, this is very important for us in our policy, have equitable access to benefits and opportunities in agribusiness. And this has been shown as very relevant as we work with partnerships, because we've had surveys that have indicated that in those partnerships where there was more farming as a family business, where there was an engagement as a whole between men, women, and youth, we have seen more productivity, we have seen more production, and we have seen more wealth creation. So our role in advancing women and youth SMEs has been catalytic. It's a catalytic role through both agribusinesses as well as financial institutions. And this is because these are the ones that are serving our SMEs, they are serving our farmer groups, and they are serving associations, and right down to the smallholder farmer. You'll find financial institutions will partner with churning out loans to varied enterprises. So our work with them is to provide liquidity, not only liquidity, but de-risking instruments to see that more of that can be provided in the agribusiness space. And we do this based on socially responsible investments. We promote socially responsible investments. And number 4 out of those principles of ours in socially responsible investing is actually that our activities shall be underlined by the promotion and protection of vulnerable groups. We have defined vulnerable groups as women and youth, as well as being location specific in northern Uganda. Today, our focus is women and youth. And indeed, as we conduct our due diligence, the tools we are using, the emphasis in ESG on the S factor is the gender aspect and the inclusivity. How do we bring on board more of these active parties in the economy who are not as included as they should be? We also promote social performance management within our financial institutions in use of tools. And this is also to help us to ascertain at what level are they, how can we work with them to improve their focus on including gender, not just as their clients, but also in their governance systems. Because as we bring more on board the equity in making decisions, even at the levels of the financial institutions, the more we are going to include all of the varied aspects of our economy that we need to be in play, the women and the youth specifically. What is another role we are doing? So if we ascertain there are gaps, we will indeed engage with business development services, technical assistance directly to our SMEs, or be it financial institutions, direct training to really bring on board or bring to their appreciation the need for this gender inclusivity or youth engagement. The gender mainstreaming amongst agribusinesses partnered with is a very key issue. So in each project we are looking at, in each funding, and probably I didn't raise that we are funding through 3 main instruments at the moment. We have grant financing, but we also have lines of credits to financial institutions so that they can on-lend to agribusinesses, and at the same time a key instrument in an agricultural loan guarantee fund that supports us to de-risk the lending, and as such incentivize financial institutions to lend more to agribusinesses. So as we partner with them, we are actually asking them to enable us track. We are setting with them targets on how much they are going to do to promote the gender agenda. And we have taken on board in our role a household approach. Why is that? Because we have proven right from afar where we picked it up from that farming as a family business can actually mean more productivity as a whole for the entire family, where everybody is participating in the decision making, where everybody, even the youth, even the children, the wife, the husband, are contributing well, not just in production alone, but also in marketing as well as the decision making. Other role has been to support through umbrella apex bodies, and we've worked with the likes of the apex body for coffee development, UCDA, UCFA, Uganda Cooperative Farmers Alliance, IITA, where we're working on the issue of aflatoxin and coming with a solution for the same. AMFEW, which is an association for microfinance institutions, and Uganda Central Cooperative Financial Services, for which I'll have an example later. Is there a business case for gender equality in agribusiness? We believe so, especially when we go back to the statistics I mentioned earlier. Remember, 77% of our population is under 25. A very young population, as Mr. Ochichi highlighted, that Africa is young. How do we use this potential? 51% female. How do we use that potential? We have promotion of farming as a family business, like I pointed out, in good agricultural practices, but also including all members in the family, so that the outcomes of their engagements can be multiplied. When they are multiplied at the same cost, we are able to actually see more wealth creation within the family setup, within agribusiness as a whole. When we involve women by providing labor to realize higher volumes, and it's unfortunate that you couldn't see those specific slides, but when they are involved in labor, we tend to realize higher volumes, and we tend to have this production going in a directed manner. And the picture we have there is of a number of women sorting, but we are not saying that these are the only roles that women can play. That is why, as we appraise the governance setup, we also promote in our partnerships, lifting the role of women in varied levels, in middle management, as well as senior management. Then female workers can also find full-time equivalent jobs. Our main outcomes and impacts we look at when we talk about wealth creation are actually number of jobs, but also enhanced income. So when all those aspects are covered, there is a business case for women's participation in agribusiness, where we can see high efficiency, production, and productivity levels. So I have a slide here, but I'll speak to it for you because unfortunately you can't see it, but it's speaking for the numbers in terms of outreach. And why do we look at the numbers? Why are we tracking the numbers? Because it's allowing us for measurement. and it's allowing us to see that they can be remedial action. So if we had targeted to have 40% outreach, for instance, we knew we had a baseline of 30 for sure in 2014. So we targeted that when we engage with farmers, we want our outreach to reach, to be, let's say, 200,000 farmers, smallholder farmers. But 40% of those should really be women. Why? Because it's growing from a 34 and it's heading somewhere. And where we discover in our partnerships that it is not growing, it's not trending positively, then we have to think of remedial action. So the outreach percentages are for the last 3 years from 18 to 2020 have surpassed 511. And out of that, we've seen about 45% being women, starting from a baseline in 2014 of much less than that. The percentage was around 34. We've also seen full-time equivalent jobs falling a bit from 40% in 2018 out of the 10,000. This is full-time equivalent, not casual, falling from 40% to 20, but inching up a little bit in 2020. The numbers in 2020 were dismal, were falling in light of what is happening around us, but we still target to move these particular numbers up towards including more youth and more women in full-time jobs. In terms of the agricultural clients that we've seen over those 3 years I've mentioned, we've seen about 500,000 as well, almost 600,000. And the percentage there has really, really grown, still from the 30s in 2014 to now 50% and above. And reason here is because of our partnerships that have really targeted and focused on social performance management and how they approach women, and also looking at their portfolios and seeing that actually in lending to female clients has been a better quality than the male clients in that regard. This doesn't mean we don't want our male clients to borrow. Yes, we promote that, but this is about getting equity, getting the whole family weighing in and having the capacity to do more. The same applies to new clients on ag insurance, averaging around 40% on the 110 we've seen over the 3 years. I have some specific interventions that I'll go through quickly in interest of the time allocated. Specifically, we have partnered with an incubation facility, and it is called Consortium for Enhancing University Responsiveness to Agribusiness Development, in short, CURAD. So CURAD is specifically looking at the youth, skilled and unskilled. It doesn't target only the skilled, but the unskilled as well, to start up agro enterprises and SMEs that develop business ideas and innovation sustainably. So working together with them, we've set up a plant in Namamve, and I had a picture there to show you for the launching of that particular area. And in here, we are actually promoting a standardization, good packaging, quality of the product that goes out. And out of currently 82 incubatees, we are seeing that 35 of them are owned by women and undergoing business incubation to graduate. The key thing here we are doing with CURAD is to see all of these are youth, by the way, but also to see that the inclusivity of women is part of the agenda. I will not speak to this and jump to the funding digitization to enhance women's access to financial services. This is with a partnership of the Uganda Central Cooperative Financial Services. This has been particularly helpful in terms of the innovation it brings to the table. It can ensure that digitally using MSACO, we can actually reach many financial institutions, especially in Tier 4, can be able to reach their clients far and wide. Women with their domestic chores and other burdens that they're taking care of may not have as much, have limited movement back and forth in terms of accessing financial services. And indeed, not many financial services will be able to place branches all over the place, but they can actually be able to bring the services closer by using digital channels, which MSACO introduction has done. Here we've seen a growth of youth, both youth and women participation, because of the accessibility and the ease of use that it brings. Importantly, we noted in 2020 that digital channels indeed were very much required, as all of our movement was limited. And this has also been shown in the recently published annual report from the central bank, showing that actually some ATMs were closed and some branches were closed in the period, and enhanced use of digital channels came to the fore. So ABI has partnered with others, including UCCF that I'm mentioning here, to see that these digital channels can enable not just women, but men as well to actually reach and access financial services, further enable their SMEs to run properly. Other interventions I can highlight is the provision of ag loans. I think we've already mentioned this and gone over that one, but we have a recent partnership with the National Social Security Fund, which was launched about, I think that was April, of the High Innovator Initiative. And it seeks to boost survival rate of youth-led SMEs. We had a specific testimonies delivered there, like just today, the testimony that Mr. Ochichi has delivered, for instance. We had examples of people that participated in the pilot of this particular partnership, supporting the youth in basically technical requirements, as well as linkages, and linkages can be to markets, not just money, but markets, networks that support them to have a higher survival rate. Ugandans generally, we are entrepreneurial, but now the issue is how do we ensure that these businesses survive? How can we grow them from one level to another? So we are partnering with this NSSF, and this is still in the contracting phases, but we believe in this particular intervention, we will also see more youth-led ag businesses grow, and also women included. We offer technical assistance, and we see technical assistance and coaching to prepare for business investments. And in here, of course, we are tracking the numbers, not just the numbers, but also the percentage of the women that are being included and the linkages for them. What lessons are we seeing along the way? We note that most youth need support in starting up. Yes, many start, but many stagger, or many stop, or don't make their third year. So the reason for that is why we approach it from the incubation perspective, but also approaching it from the partnerships and collaborations. And I believe being here today with human capital gives us an opportunity, like I believe Mr. Muhwezi, the commissioner, mentioned. It gives us a round table and an opportunity to find new collaborations on what else can we do to ensure the survival rate of our youth-led SMEs. Then seed support to the young entrepreneurs enhances their business capacities and contributes to sustainable competitiveness in the ag space. So there's a need for that seed support. There's a need for a bit of a push in some instances. There's a need for some training and continuous provision of these BDS services. We are currently working on BDS tools, and these tools are to help us. And these tools are to help us be able to have a curriculum that we can standardize and use for the purpose of ensuring that our graduates coming out from the incubation centers that we are working with, coming out from our own BDS, internal BDS we are doing, can actually have good survival rates. So ag technology, which is customized to youth skills, is also important, not just any form of technology, but customized, will drive youth and women-focused. So I want to thank you very much, share with you a few case studies. So I shared about that young lady from Curad, that incubation center. And the next one is a young gentleman who is in appropriate fertilizer use. The third one is a coffee farmer, Bernard Ongom, working with us with one of our partners, Kawako, and working together with the wife in farming as a family business. I thank you.